What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of From the Logo Podcast. You got myself, Hayes, and ZZ in the building. What's going on, ZZ?
What's good? What's good? W chat, W title topic, and W host. And WZZ.
I figure this one may piss some people off, but hey, it is what it is when it comes down to it. You know, it is what it is, man. That's part of this whole content creation. You gotta, and sometimes it's just about getting the reaction out of people, but still making sure that it's actual content, right? Like, and so this was a good topic that I saw. I saw an article on as far as like players that have been the most successful at ring chasing. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, we got to bring this over to the show. This would be a really good topic to talk about.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of players here that we already could talk about. Clearly, if you guys have seen the thumbnails, you know some of the players that are on this list. But ZZ, let's have this conversation first. When you think about ring chasing, how do you personally define ring chasing?
That's a tough question. I mean, it's like for me, I look at it and I'm like, it could be a situation where you're right place, right time, or it's a situation where it's quite obvious that that's the one thing that you're missing. So you're actively hopping from team to team or situation to situation, and it's kind of obvious. Like you look at Gary Payton and Karl Malone in '04. That was a clear case of let me hop on this ring or let me hop on this potential ring, which ended up not working out. DeMarcus Cousins in 2019 is another prime example. When that shit happened, oh my God, I remember where I was on my bed. I was like, yo, there's no way that Adam Silver allowed this shit, but it happened like that. So there's situations where it's obvious, and then there's situations where it's circumstance based off of like if you're a role player and you're bouncing around from team to team. So, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like of course, it's different levels to it, right? Like clearly, some players towards the ends of their careers become ring chasers, and some of them earn that case, right? Like if you've played a certain level in your career, and whether it be like you're on a team that just doesn't work, like Kevin Garnett. I'm not calling Kevin Garnett a ring chaser, but I'm just saying like one of the reasons he never got close is because that franchise in the Minnesota Timberwolves just sucked at building teams or just had some unluckiness. But like there's some teams that are some players that just are in situations where it doesn't work out, and then towards the end of their career they just decide to go chase and get rings. But I guess let's get to the list, man. When you think of some of the best and most successful, that's the way that we titled it, ring chasers of all time, who's the first one that comes to mind for you?
The first person that came to mind was Robert Horry. Now, a lot of people look at that and they'll say, like, Talon Masor right here. Robert Horry is ultimate right place, right time player. And that's facts because when you look at his career numbers, right, it's like how good of a role player was he? Was he sixth man of the year, like potential? Not necessarily all the time. 7 points a game, 5 rebounds, shot it at 34% from three, which was respectable for his time. And there was only one time in his career where he was in the running for six man of the year, and that was in 2001, 2002, when he played for the Lakers, and he was eighth on that voting. So it's like, but then you look at the fact that he's knocked down some of the clutchest shots for a role player in the history of basketball and for multiple teams. And you're like, okay, maybe he just was a glorified role player that just happened to be the luckiest one of all time or have the ability to hit some pretty big shots when his team needed him to. Now, the fact that this man won a championship in, I think it was 94, 95, 2000, 2001, 2002, 05, and 07. I think I'm missing one. But to be able to do that for multiple teams is like, can you really say he was a ring chaser, or did he just did he just do what he was supposed to do when he was supposed to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
No, I
could
could.
building.
We got Gifted joining, but no, I completely agree with you on that. When you look at Robert Horry, like it's easy to kind of look at Robert Horry, the fact that he won 3 titles for 3 different teams, things like that, and say, I'm sorry, he won more than 3 titles, but he won titles with 3 different teams. He won 7, if I'm not mistaken, over the course of his NBA career. And initially label him as like a ring chaser, but like those Houston teams, he was starting. I mean, that was also at the beginning of his career, right? So, like, you can't call him a ring chaser at that point. The Lakers, I think the situation and circumstances that got him to the Lakers was organic. Now, could you start saying that when it was the San Antonio Spurs? Maybe there's a conversation to be made about that. But then again, it's not like he was there short term. He still played for that Spurs team for 5 seasons and won 2 titles out of those 5 seasons. So, I don't necessarily look at Robert Horry as a ring chaser. I understand why people may try to throw that label on him because he was a great role player, but he didn't earn the title of Big Shot Bob by mistake. It's not like he was just there to be there. He hit some big shots for those teams. What's going on, Gifted? We was just jumping into the conversation about most successful ring chasers, brother.
I really hate Detroit traffic with a passion. They cannot drive. I keep having to be in traffic a whole lot, but happy to be here, man. Robert Horry is an interesting player. Are you debating if he's a ring chaser?
Yeah, we're having that conversation if he qualifies as a ring chaser.
Yeah.
I guess so, because by definition he put himself on very good teams that had a chance to win a title multiple times, but he also played a big role in that as well. So it's kind of weird. The Houston thing is interesting because he was starting. Like I don't know.
So you can't really say that because like that's what I was saying in his Houston years. It's like I think he was initially given some good PT, and then his role got reduced once they started making acquisitions, bringing in Clyde Drexler and Vernon Maxwell, all the people that they were bringing in to kind of fill that role. And then it started to be a situation where it's like, okay, well, do we move him down a position, whatever? But then in the latter years, where you look at the Laker years and the Spurs years, it's like perfect place, perfect time, and he's doing what he's supposed to do in his role. Now, Ray Allen's an interesting one, given the circumstances of him not getting the respect he thought that he deserved money-wise in Boston, and then jumping ship to the enemy, literally chasing a ring with LeBron, and then he ends up right place, right time, and does what he's supposed to do. But I can see that being classified as a ring chasing situation, right? Patrick McCaw is the only player in the last however many years to say that he successfully three-peated. He ain't get no run at all, but he's able to have that distinction. Now that's also are we gonna call that ring chasing or perfect place, perfect time for him ended up on the Toronto Raptors in the 1 year that they won the championship,
And that's the thing too, like all the places that he did win the title in, like, did he choose any of those places or was he traded there when it comes to Patrick McCaw? I mean, we'll get into more detail
you're
right. Even with Robert Horry, like you can't say his Rockets time was in ring chasing. He was drafted 11th overall to them and started every game when he played for them. Like that's not ring chasing. He got traded to the Lakers.
Rockets are not ring chasing. No.
Yeah, he got traded to the Lakers. So can you like I said, he didn't necessarily choose. He got traded there. Like there's a series of circumstances that led him to get in there, which we're not going to talk about as part of this. It's interesting history when you go back and look at that. He threw a towel at Danny Ainge. I'm sure a lot of people want to throw towels at Danny Ainge now, but so like Robert Horry, I don't personally categorize him. Now he's on this list. Where do they rank him on this list? They ranked him at number 4 on this list, I think. Give me a second. Let me go back to it. Out of the top 10 ring chasers, they ranked Robert Horry. They actually ranked him as number 2.
Wait. As number 2? Wait, what article are you on right now?
Clutch Points.
All right, they got, from what I'm seeing, I got Steve Kerr at 2.
Yeah, Steve Kerr's at 2. I'm mixing this one in the Bleach Report article. So
okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Okay.
So yeah, Robert Horry, I don't think you can categorize Robert Horry as a ring chaser person.
Now here's where it gets like spicy. When we talking about ring chasing, it's like, okay, we got to figure out a more concrete or a more universal concrete definition of the term. So that begs the question, chat, is Kevin Durant a ring chaser? If so, because Clutch Points has him as the number 1 ring chaser of all time, would that make him the greatest ring chaser of all time, given the circumstances of the situation where he had all the power to go to the team and shift the fucking culture of who the league thought was going to win the championship and stamp that shit? And then now and the fans are like, oh, it's over. Like, to be able to move the talent like that based off of your own decision, not a trade, not a situation where you bank on yourself like Dennis Schroeder and you end up with a vet minimum and you take what you can get. Nigga chose to go there. That's a ring chaser if we're really being, blunt about it. That's
I get it. And I know people are gonna argue this, but I think if you're using the definition of it, Kevin Durant ring chase. Like I don't think there's any other way around it now.
Chase.
Yeah.
Huh? Are we debating he didn't ring chase? He did.
No, I think we're all universally saying that it should not be a debate. He ring chase. He may be the most successful ring chaser of all time, mainly because he took advantage of a situation where the Golden State Warriors drafted most of their players, so the contracts they had a place where they had superstars but had space for a max level contract. They signed a player in his prime in Kevin Durant, and yeah, it changed the trajectory of the NBA, but like he ring chased, but it was under his own power at the prime of his career. He had the power to choose where he wanted to go. So yeah, he ring chased, but guess what? If any of y'all say you wouldn't have joined a team and felt like you like, that's the whole point, is joining and going somewhere you feel like you have the best opportunity of winning a title. He did it. They were successful. They got 2 titles out of it.
And be real about that. Be real about that, Hayes. Like, I know a large majority of y'all play 2K. All right. Now be real. What y'all be doing on my career? Like it's probably much worse in situations
I stay on the same team because I'd be averaging 80 points a game. I don't gotta go nowhere. We gonna win.
As you should. Hey, look, I got drafted to the who was it? The Bulls. I got drafted to the Bulls. Ended up going to the T-Wolves after 1 year and winning the championship. And then I was like, you know what? I want to go play with Wemby. I'm moving all over the place, breaking the mold of the league and all that. So if we was in this situation, if we in KD's shoes, you know, you looked at as a top 3 player in the world, you know, and the one thing missing from your resume, you got the scoring titles, the MVPs, the finals year of experience. Yeah, shit. You got, and the salary cap was what it was in 2016. Yes, bro, we're gonna take that chance. I'm sorry. Like you ain't gonna really care if you end up winning that ring. Because I remember somebody saying back then, in the moment, everybody hates it. In 20, 25 years, what they gonna call Kevin Durant? A 2-time champion, a 2-time finals MVP. That's what they gonna call him. So they can hate you now, but they will grow to appreciate you later.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that 100%. Like you got to make the decision that's best for you. Like, and at the end of the day, he did that. It was a smart decision. Like, yeah, we all looked at it at the time like this is like a video game, but hey, that's the situation that the team put themselves in, and Kevin Durant. They both worked it out into a situation where they were able to join powers, and they got 2 titles out of it. Would have gotten more, probably.
Yep.
Somebody says KG's in the conversation. I don't think you can count Kevin Garnett in the area of ring chasing. He was traded to the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and he wanted out from a shitty situation, and they ended up
he stayed there for a long ass time, bro. Yeah. Like a long ass time.
And he was prepared to stay there that season. Because remember, initially they tried to make a trade for Kevin Garnett, and he said no. And then they got Ray Allen there, and then that changed the outlook, and then he decided he wanted to go there. So I guess if you're trying to use it by definition, you can make the case that he chased for that ring, but at the same time, he was traded. It took the team to get him there to do so. So
yeah, facts. Now what about shit? They got Dwight Howard in here.
Yeah, they got Dwight Howard on this list as well. Towards the end of this list,
I mean, honestly, I could see that based off of like it was weird with Dwight because I remember watching Dwight in his early years and being like, okay, when he was still in Orlando and being like, okay, you know, this is a premier top 3 big man in the game. So his leverage and his leeway, if he wanted to leave Orlando, which at the time him and Stan Van Gundy were having issues, I was like, okay, well, where was he going to end up? Los Angeles, right? With Kobe, a 38, 39-year-old Steve Nash. So you could classify that as like the Lakers had just come off for 3 championships or 3 championship appearances, 2 titles. And so they're looking, okay, they're saying, okay, my championship window looking like it's about to close. Let me figure out a way to keep it open. Would you classify that as ring chasing? Him ended up in LA at that time, given the circumstances? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then 2020, he ends up on the bubble Lakers, but that team was built from, like I said, from top to bottom. That was the best Lakers team in years that they could have possibly come up with. They had everything that they needed. Dwight Howard was a big part of that, especially on the glass. So is that ring chasing at that time? Probably. Back then when he was in his prime, yeah, you could probably I can see what they're getting at. And in the Houston years, I mean, what would we classify that as? Like,
I mean, the Houston years were a little different. I think that was, I wouldn't categorize that as when ring chasing. Like you wanted to pair up with James Harden. You guys basically dictated that team. You alienated all of that team as well. Like that's true. Like true. You got to look at that part too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on this list as well, they have Gary Payton, who we mentioned a little. He tried to ring chase once with that Lakers team. It didn't work out. He was more successful at it with the Miami ring chase. He just couldn't ring it. But the thing is, this list is most successful ring chasers. If you chase the ring and don't get it, that's not really successful. But Gary Payton does end up winning one with that Miami Heat team. They try to run it back. They don't. They actually get eliminated in the opening round by my Chicago Bulls. I'm never going to forget that series. They got swept that series. But they listen, we got to take our victories where we can. We haven't had a lot of postseason success. But they did win that title in 2026. 2006. Do you guys count Gary Payton as a ring chaser?
Gifted, go ahead. You said,
yeah, he probably is a ring chaser. I could see that.
Yeah,
I know the LA shit didn't work out, but that's obvious ring chasing. It just didn't work out at all. So I think that's fair for him, to be honest. Yeah, that's not crazy.
Okay, now let me ask y'all this question. All right, that's an example of a successful ring chase. But let's now transition into like, what would y'all classify as all the big threes that have popped up in the league in the last 5 years? All the experimental, with that, KD, D-Book, and Chris Paul at one point, and then Chris Paul, D-Book, and DeAndre Ayton at one point. Russ,
that shit not no big three, man.
Russ, Melo, and PG at one point.
Old ass, big three.
I think the closest one you could say that was maybe that Brooklyn Nets team with Kyrie, KD, and Harden. Right. That's why if we're making a list of the most unsuccessful ring chasers, James Harden is number one on that list because he's tried multiple times and hasn't gotten anything.
Honestly, yeah, he might be at least within our era, I guess.
Yeah.
But, damn, I am a system. Sorry,
a good player.
He's a damn good player.
Hell yeah.
Let me think. I think one of the most unsuccessful big threes we saw was probably Paul George, Westbrook, and Melo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but Gifted. Now looking back in retrospect, why did that shit not work to you, in your humble opinion?
Well, they got Carmelo late. They didn't really have like a training camp to prepare for having Melo. They kind of just traded for him to trade for him. They didn't really experiment with it too much. Their spacers outside of those three were questionable, and Carmelo's role wasn't really consistent. Also, I kind of feel like the last great season for Melo was like a year before his last year on the Knicks, to be honest. So to me, he also wasn't the same. There's a lot of things there. Also, Paul George being injured in the playoffs both times he was there was also not good for them too.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah,
I think a big part is Melo and his role, because I think that they really didn't know what they were really trying to make him out to be. Because you got to look at during the preseason, there was that press conference where they asked him about coming off the bench and he scoffed at it. But even at that moment in time, when I saw that clip, I was like, shit, this ain't gonna be good, because Melo's looking at it like, I'm too good to come off the bench, which, to his credit, he had never come off the bench before at any point in his basketball career, so I get that. But you're walking into a situation where you have Paul George, who put together an MVP caliber season that year in his own right, and even a solid depoy case. Russ was coming off of his MVP year, so the pecking order over there was already not looking like it was going to be in Melo's favor. So the question remains as to what role does Melo play? He's the clear third option in terms of having the ball in his hand, usage rate, and all that. But you look at him in his later years, where he became a pretty solid catch and shoot option for Portland and LA and a little bit of his Houston years, and it's like, damn, you could have really been that option. Like, they could have utilized you like that in OKC, and your stint wouldn't have been a year there. Like, after that one season, they were like, they literally hit up Melo on vacation and was like, we don't think this is going to work out. Billy Donovan did that. So I was like, how the hell 1 year literally ruined Carmelo Anthony's basketball career from that point on, for how the league looked at him, because they couldn't figure out how to get him into that catch and shoot role, or a role equivalent to that, with some sort of good production, before it was ultimately too late. So I think it was the biggest issue was trying to find roles for Carmelo Anthony in that, whatever that offense was, with that terrible spacing outside of them. So I feel you Gifted.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting conversation to look at when it comes down to ring chasing. It's some people more successful at it than not. And I think Kevin Durant, if we off the top of my head, Kevin Durant. Well, we didn't talk about Steve Kerr. Do you guys count Steve Kerr as a ring chaser, especially towards the end of his career, that time with San Antonio?
I mean,
I don't know if I count Steve Kerr.
yeah, like I don't know, because his is interesting too, because his role itself. I mean, you could say it kind of changed when he got to San Antonio, but for the most part in his career, like we kind of knew what type of player he was. Like even back when he was with Cleveland and before he got to Chicago, like his role was never that of. And this is a guy I'm looking at it right now. Steve Kerr had more years in six-man of the year contention than even Robert Horry did. He had 2 years of it. Robert had 1. So what are we really looking at? What was his responsibility in San Antonio? You know, in the 2 championships. Like really.
I mean, did he have he barely got in the game. So
right. So what Duke said, if Steve Kerr is a ring chaser, Robert Horry is.
That's fair. I guess that's fair. All right, let's move off of that. Let's get into the 2K player rating. So this is a thing every year. I don't know about you guys. I buy 2K every year. It is what it is. Does sometimes I feel less good about my purchase? Absolutely. But I'm at this point, I'm like 15 years straight of buying 2K. Why break the streak now? Looking at the top 10 player ratings in 2K, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, SGA, Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis rounds out the top 10 there. How you guys feeling about
that? Okay. I'm going to just say this real quick about 2K. I just want to quickly say this about 2K, right? For 3 years now, I've had videos about why I'm unfortunately buying 2K, because I feel like a scumbag every time I spend money buying
it. It feels icky, right?
Yeah. My logic, because the thing is, I don't buy VC. I just actually play the game, and every year they make the game harder to play to get more VC, right? Yeah. So initially, I'm like, all right, I'm buying the game this year because my friends are gonna play it. It was ass. Next year, okay, I'm only gonna buy the game because they added in a bundle that costs $150, but as a content creator, you get League Pass. It's a steal, right?
That was a steal.
Right? Outstanding value. Game was mid. Next year, okay, I'm gonna buy it again. League Pass makes too much sense. I was off the game in like 3 months. This year, I'm not buying this shit. I'm not buying this shit this year. And the main reason why is the game has been very stale for a couple of times now. It's always the greatest game ever, Hayes, in the first week. The first week is gravy, it's kosher. They pass the shit. You got to rebuild your shot, all this and all that. We'll do it while the while, especially if your homies give up the game, then you're cooked. Because the randoms in 2K are some of the most brain dead. If y'all thought the player's choice chat sometimes can be very bad, the randoms in 2K are some of the most brain dead people you'll ever witness. So for me, I'm waiting. Also, a game with Jason Tatum on the cover, knowing how bad 2K already is, I'm gonna just wait. I cannot buy a game where they have another team working on PS4 and Xbox One. People, stop being broke. Okay, we're on next gen. Stop being on the PS4. You got,
and we're 5 years into next gen. It's not new anymore. Come on.
There are no excuses, because people try to say, "Oh, COVID, the chip shortage." No, we are 5 years beyond that. Y'all got dirty roaches in them damn PS4s. Shit is about to explode. Okay, like your PS4 account's about to explode from the load up screen. Like I'm not, and the fact that 2K has to spend resources where they're already bad at making the base game work, but now they have to have a whole other team work on a last gen version. I'm gonna wait until they say only next gen, because then they'll probably put their best foot forward at making a really good game.
But the problem is that if we get to that point where they're only on next gen, like we've already started hearing rumblings about the PlayStation 6. Like it's around the corner. Like what do we?
And half the player base don't even got PS5s, and they talking about PS6. Like I'm good.
Like it's ridiculous. Like I get it. I get it when it was hard to get one. You could literally walk into a GameStop and walk out with the PS5 right now. You don't need to find it. You don't need to hunt. You can just walk in and get one. And listen, I know some of y'all be spending too much money on OnlyFans. Go upgrade your gaming life, my guy.
He's correct.
Like real talk. Come on now.
Real talk.
Come on.
You gotta stop being cheap gooners, man. Like you gotta go all in or all out. You gotta make a decision. You gotta make a decision. Like, bro, PS4 and Xbox One, like all y'all do anyway is play 2K, Madden, and YouTube, right? Like I don't understand why you're still on last gen in 2024. It's 2024. Long ago.
Like we shouldn't even be calling it next gen anymore. It's the current generation.
Last gen. It's really last gen.
Let's keep it 5 years into it. Yeah. Most times we be towards the end of the gaming cycle at this point. We would be 2 more years into this gaming cycle's over with. Yeah. Y'all gotta chill, man.
And the reason why the game keeps dropping on last gen, just like the reason why 2K barely fixes their game consistently, is because y'all motherfuckers gonna buy it anyway. You're gonna buy the VC. So for me, I'm making a stand. Look, bro, the game is probably gonna be great in that first week. But again, when you patch the game, the whole community complains. I'm grown. I got shit. I'm gonna just wait until you cut off that whole broke base over here to make one complete game for one set of people on PC, on Xbox Series X, and on PS5. I'ma just wait. Me personally,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm
like that thought process is very it's making me kind of have a second. You know what I'm saying? It's making me have like a second thought about the whole situation, because the point of just waiting for it to all be for us to go from next gen to just current gen and that's it. Maybe they would take a little bit more time to sit back and be like, okay, let's actually have a revitalization of the 2K series, like what they did with even 2K15 at that time, and 2K16 at that time. Yeah. Like it felt like, oh shit, this is getting good. And then
it felt like something was different.
Right?
I promise you, bro. Right? These 2Ks, they look good. The last gen version is legit copy paste every year. I only know because they let you play. And Hayes, that's another thing. They let niggas play the PS4 version on PS5.
Yeah, it's
you
weird,
can play
bro.
like
I don't know why they do like.
Why does it exist if you can do that,
bro? It's so strange, bro. Like it's just like I love 2K still because I guess the community aspect of it, playing with like my boys and stuff like that. Like, but overall,
it's always fun to play with your friends. Yeah,
but between VC and like 2K, it's so crazy that it started off as like this revelation, and now it's suffered from the same thing Madden suffered from. It's the only game they don't have to revolutionize because they're the only one around, and then on top of that, like with no competition, that's it breeds stagnation, and then on top of you're trying to live in 2 worlds, bro. Like it doesn't make any sense, bro. That'll seriously be like them still releasing movies on VHS. They barely release movies on Blu-ray now.
Yep.
Shit. Redbox went out of business too.
Exactly.
Like,
got cooked.
Cable getting cooked for streaming services now. Like all of that inside the NBA. Like why can't we learn from that? Like that's crazy.
And like I hate to say this too, but the other sad part about this is like, look, man, y'all be buying these consoles, y'all don't play game. I'm gonna just say it, like y'all be buying these $500, $600 consoles to play 2 games every year. And that's like your main purpose. And that's fine, right? There's a base for that. But me knowing I have other games to play, I don't have an attachment to 2K. 2K is fun because it's basketball, but I have other things that are quality. Like, bro, imagine a community asking you to patch some shit that you haven't fixed in 3 years. The trailer just came out. People are already talking about best build cheat. Like, it's such a toxic, weird community. But the game is fun when you with the homies and you learn how to play. It's great. The problem is the VC grind. Like every year, the grind gets worse. You telling me it takes 180,000 VC just to become an 80 overall?
Crazy.
80?
Crazy.
Like, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And look, my main issue is like, because for me and my history with 2K, it's very weird. Like there have been years where I've been heavily like, can't wait for the shit to drop. And then there's years where like in the last probably last 3-4 2Ks, I've gotten them shits like sometime after Christmas where there's a sale on it. I've waited months to see just
makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Like I sit back, I'm like, I'm not getting this shit in August. I'm not getting this shit in September, October. No. By the time we get to December and I see some sales going on that shit, and I done watched a few, gameplay videos or what have you, then I'm gonna make my own decision on it. And if I don't want to get it, I have no like like no reason or no doubt in my mind that I'm making the right decision because I was like, I don't need it. But I will not lie. The last one wasn't that bad. I was like, all right, I got that shit for like $23. And I was like, get this point.
I can play that shit until next year. I can wait.
Right.
Cool.
And I will have no issue with that. You go through a grind of like on my career to the point where you get your guy like maxed out, and then you sit back and you're like, shit, I don't feel like doing this again. I don't feel like paying this much money just to get to a 75. No, I ain't doing that.
And the VC don't transfer, which is so like insanely greedy. That shit don't transfer. Niggas got like eight or nine bills that they put more money in the game on, and you can't transfer it.
You gonna sell me the same game every year, and I can't transfer the player? Like it doesn't make
that's
any
what I'm
sense.
saying. No,
it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And you're saying, so this just to add clarity, he says you can play the PS4 versions of other games on PS5s. They're meant to be a difference. Yes, for a game like so. What Gifted is saying is that the current gen version of 2K is held back because they keep trying to live in last gen as well. It's held back. Like if you could still do the same thing on the PS4 version as the PS5 version, and the PS5 is literally 4 times more powerful than the PS4, that you're limiting your cap there. 2K can be in such a better place if you just drop at some point. You gotta drop the broke bitches and just let them be.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck these broke. Like, bro. I need you to understand, bro. Like, you niggas put the PS4 on layaway and you still paying it off right now in 20. Like, it's some despicable behavior. Like, dog.
If you paying for a PS4 on Afterpay, you got things you need to ask. You got bigger questions in your life, bro.
Listen, if you telling me you can't get a next gen console because it costs too much, you got to look yourself in the mirror, man. 500. Like, bro, you can break up 500 in a 12-month span and pay it off. You tell me you that definitely afraid of getting a PS5, but you'll spend like hundreds of dollars on VC? Like that's hundreds of dollars on VC, but you can't get a next gen console. Like I don't get it. Like I just don't. And like and like the other thing, and this might be a hot take. I'm not sure how you feel, right, Hayes? But me personally, I also think that they're wasting a ton of resources. Why do they have so much effort in a WNBA storyline that's not really well done, that has a whole other mode with other servers, when really, in my opinion, my part is my part. Just put the shits in one. It's less resources.
Yeah, I believe in putting
and you rock out.
Yeah, I believe
it would be so easy. Like, okay, better up. If you build like here, right? At the end of the day, you should be able to right make your build. And then it says choose gender, right? Yeah, you can literally have the same voice actors and just be in the W and not the NBA. It'd be so easy to do, but they don't want to do that. It's laziness. This game corporation is lazy, and it has a lazy player base that's fine with them being lazy. There's no pressure being applied.
Has been in 2K, I think, for is it 5 years now? We're going in WNBA being in 2K.
I believe so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And this is the first year where they've added hair physics that actually make sense for women. Like it's nothing that 2K does anymore makes sense, bro. Nothing that they do makes sense.
Hey, they put the women on a 3v3 in the jungle and said, "Oh, look, innovation." It's like, dog, you put them in these shitty ass parks in the jungle on servers that barely gonna work anyway. Like, just innovate.
And we know that background is under unrendered versions of Borderlands backgrounds, bro. That they just ported over.
That.
And my biggest thing too, another thing that I don't like, and this is something that, okay, I understand fan outrage for initial overalls, but I don't get outraged for initial overalls. Let me tell you why. Because no matter if fucking Giannis is rated higher than LeBron, or Joel Embiid is rated higher than Steph, or Jason Tatum is rated higher than Kevin Durant, if y'all are so confident in this player should be over this player, and this player should be over this player, then when the season gets here, that shit should play out accordingly, right? If a player, if for example, Jason Tatum over Kevin Durant, do I think Tatum is better than Kevin Durant? No, I don't. Do I think he's close? Yeah, fuck yeah, I do. Why is he close? Because he's younger. That's it. Now, he has more room to grow his game. Kevin Durant is coming off of an Achilles tear and giving us some of the greatest longevity we have ever seen from any player in history, right? So there's a reason why he's still a 94 to start off with. They got Tatum as a 95. That's the first amount of respect that Jason Tatum has gotten all summer. So if Jason Tatum is not better than Kevin Durant, when the season gets here, those overalls are gonna flip. They're gonna flip. All right, everything gonna work itself out. If Shea isn't better than Steph, if Steph isn't better than Shea, all of that is gonna pan out, and you'll get a good glimpse of that by like the end of October. The initial overall should not evoke this much rage because that's just like free range to just throw out some hate because not everybody is going to agree with somebody being a higher overall than someone else. That's just the law of the land. But for me, I'm just like, I'm not tripping over none of this. They got what? Nikola Jokic is the highest ranked player. Okay. That makes sense to a lot of people, right? Luka Doncic is also a 97. Makes sense to a lot of people.
I'm cool with that.
Giannis is a 97. Makes sense. Shea as a 96, I can see the outrage. I could see some niggas that 94, 95, 96 is same as Joel Embiid, right? LeBron is a 95 at the age of 40. What are we talking about? Like come on now. Like just be like, it is what it is. Steph, 36 years old, 95. KD, 30 about to be 36. He's 94. They gonna go, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna change. It's supposed to change. Just let it be.
I think
the ratings going to change the first week into the season any damn way. But go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, like I don't. Okay. So like there are a couple things I don't get. Right, I don't get the controversy around their 2K ratings when they change so frequently during the season. Anyway, It's really about what you finish with more than what you begin with. Exactly. But the funnier part is like y'all be so fake mad about the rating shit because the ratings don't even make no sense. How is Bam? Like have a 73 perimeter defense or some crazy shit like that. He has like a 63 steal. Bam Adebayo. Like their ratings don't make sense, and that's fine. That's fine. The game's not, great. The game, like for years and years and years, 2K, because they had something with Ben Simmons, we're trying to keep him at like 80, 85.
Bro,
he was clearly worse
ridiculous,
than that.
Bro.
He can shoot. I'm like, what?
Now, I wasn't mad when they kept Derrick Rose at like a 92 for like 3 years past his injury. But, and I was still cooking people with Derrick Rose.
Me too.
Not right. Yeah.
Slashing straight to the rim. Putting fucking balls to chins.
Jesus Christ. Like, bro, they had been out there like Giannis. Like, he's not that good.
Gifted. Yeah. Bruh. You do not understand how pissed off I was playing 2K. Like y'all ever play Now Online? And at that time, what was that? Probably like 2K21, using Ben Simmons, right? At that time, what his like reputation in the league was. And then you go play Now Online who using the Sixers, and Ben Simmons over here got 25 points in the first quarter just off of slashes alone. And I'm like, this nigga was running from Trae Young not too long ago. What are we talking about? Like, what are we doing here? And then I'd be like, all right, foul him. Niggas knocking down free throws left and right. This nigga was a worse free throw shooter than Shaquille O'Neal. I stand on that.
It was bad.
I will trust Shaquille O'Neal to at least get me one than Ben Simmons making any of his 2 attempts from the line. I'm telling you.
It was very bad.
And I'm sitting here saying, what are the 2K developers trying to, like, it's like Vince McMahon trying to push Roman Reigns down wrestling fans' throats in 2015. Like, they're like, look, here's Ben Simmons. He's good. And it's like, he's not who you say he is. Like, why are we doing this? Please. Nigga was out there like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm like, what the hell?
Let me a quick question while we're still on the 2K topic. First of all, I didn't expect Gifted to get us fired up about 2K. I thought we were going to talk about the ratings.
Shit makes you mad, bro.
Hey, I feel it. I saw it in your face as soon as the 2K topic came up.
Because like every year, Hayes, imagine every year having to make that bullshit 10-minute video that gets more traction than like your basic basketball videos because it's 2K. I'm done.
Hey, bro, every year on my Bulls channel, when the Bulls ratings are released, I always know it's going to be a hit. And the reason why it gets in the algorithm, because all people do is argue about the ratings. Like,
that's it.
Like, bro, that's all they do. And I'm just like, I literally put peek behind the curtain content creator. It's one of the most low effort videos I ever have to make.
It's so easy.
I'm literally just looking at the ratings, telling my thoughts, move on. And these motherfuckers, I'm talking about for days, just is still the most highly commented video on it. I'm just like, y'all really mad about this 2K thing, huh?
They really be tight. They really be tight. It's crazy.
But who's a player in 2K? Any year, it doesn't matter. That was a role player, but you always cooked with.
Gerald Green.
Gerald Green, yep. I was gonna say that one.
Yeah.
fucking
Gerald Green was you could not stop him from dunking the ball.
nigga, Danny Green in 2K17. I remember playing.
Danny Green 17 was a beast
Green was,
too.
that was
his
crazy.
shot was just,
Rudy Gay.
Rudy
Gay is a dog. Rudy Gay
yeah.
a dog in
Yeah.
2K.
Yeah.
What was Kevin Martin during his years in OKC wasn't too bad.
That was
either.
Kevin Martin was solid too.
Mine is a throwback.
Okay.
Rudy Fernandez. I used to cook.
Oh, you a cheese.
Because Rudy, because they made Rudy Fernandez. Because I mean, he did have the skill set to do a little bit of everything, but of course, 2K they never balanced the skill set right. So I'm taking motherfuckers off the dribble. I'm raining threes. Now he was one of the players that had their shot timing down perfectly. I used to cook people with Rudy Fernandez, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. My boy, he would always pick the Blazers. He gave people work with CJ. I started thinking CJ was better than he was. The way he was getting CJ shit off like the midi.
Hayes, Hayes. I ain't gonna lie to you. 2K16, back when I was a Bulls fan, of course. Nikola Mirotic.
Nah, Mirotic had a burner.
Oh yeah,
had a burner on him. Yeah,
boy had a burner.
Facts.
Boy had a clip.
I think my version. What's up?
Oh, Denzel Valentine. I used to cook people with Denzel Valentine because again, I had a shot timing, and he is absolute garbage. But I used to cook people those first 2 years of Denzel's Valentine's career because for some reason they still had him ranked as an okay enough defender. So I used to literally I used to be able to cook people with Denzel. But go ahead.
I think one of the most clean players, no matter what his overall was for years, that no one ever knew about. Kelly Olynyk just had a consistent burner. He can rebound the ball. They will leave his ass open. Anytime if they play any off-ball defense with the AI, they would leave him open every time on the pop, and it's just green every time. Shit was crazy. Very cheesy. Very cheesy.
Funny. That's hilarious. Well, that's your 2K report there. I did not expect us to get into as deep of a conversation on that one, but hey, it is what it is. This is organic conversation here. That was a great conversation about 2K. We all need to vent about 2K from time to time because 2K really does have the basketball community by the balls and nobody really talks about it. And I just don't understand, at some point, why has no other? You remember how Midway used to pop up? They'd have their NBA series. Other teams would pop up with their NBA games. Why is it that every other no other company has popped up and said let's make some really good NBA games? They just
all we had was NBA Live and they gave up.
Yeah, well, that's because EA they dropped the ball on that shit so much, bro.
They did, man.
Yeah, it was bad. I'll never forget the Jesus Bynum, Andrew Bynum, who used to just go in the middle of the court, just stand like this. That's when you knew NBA Live was about to be done. Because how do you code?
He was out there T-posing and shit. Yeah,
bro. How do you code that?
Yeah, was bad.
But moving on from that, we've been going division by division in the NBA, talking about each team in that division. We're gonna get back to that, and we're going just because I was going to push this off to last, but I'm not going to lie to you. I want to get it out the way. I'm done. I want to talk about the Central Division only because I could talk about my Bulls. We can get it over with. But let's start at the top. The best player out of the Central Division per record last year was the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks lost Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley this past year. They signed DeLon Wright, Gary Trent Jr., Taurean Prince. How do you guys feel about the Milwaukee Bucks coming into next season?
I think so. By the way, this is hilarious because I'll actually be talking about the Bucks on a new episode of the pod soon. I'm happy, man. The Bucks are a more respectable team to me than they were last year. Okay. I said all last year I didn't believe in this team. I thought they were fake. I thought the defense was going to be cooked and ass. And it could still be that. That's still possible. But I like the pieces a lot more. I think Gary Trent was a very, very good pickup for a Bucks team that really needed shooting. He can score the ball at a high clip as well. I don't think he's a good defender, but I think he has the tools on a good team to be that, because in Portland, he was a good defender. We just haven't seen that version in many years, right? So I hope he can get back. Also, I think Dame is primed to have a bounce back revenge year. He wasn't in shape. A lot of that is because he was going to get traded, so he couldn't get injured. So he wasn't in the gym like that. And it showed for the entire season how off balance he looked. But I think Dame is primed to have a monster breakout year with Giannis. I think this is the year where people see how dominant Dame of a player was. Because remember, before he went to this team, he had the best year of his career in Portland. So I expect more of that to follow. In terms of a championship team, I'm not going to lie, Chris Middleton had surgery on both of his ankles. We're going to have to see what he looked like before we talk about any championship thing with them, in my opinion.
Yeah, Gifted's last point was where I was going to start.
Yeah.
They made some solid acquisitions in the offseason. Their biggest issues last season that kept plaguing them was essentially defense, from the start of the year to the finish. I'll look at the fact that Dame also went through three different head coaches. One of them was new to the job. There was Joe Prunty for a few games, and then Doc fucking Rivers. So in that time span, despite all of those changes and the front office entrusting in Doc Rivers to change up something that he physically could not change, which is just effort at the end of the day on the perimeter. I look at that and I say, to Gifted's point about Dame having a bounce back year, the fact that I had to literally sit back and be like, what is wrong with Damian Lillard? And then come to find out that I'd learned about him not really conditioning in the right way, and this kind of just being a whimsical kind of throw yourself to the caution to the wind and go out there type of year. And plus, new team, new environment. I've always given him like a tax break for that. This season, I'm expecting a big leap from him just because of the fact that he is what 30, 33, 30, 32. What is Dame? 30. No, he's 34. Good Lord. 34 years old. Giannis is in a situation where that 2021 run is starting to look like that was the peak of the Bucks' success, at least at the turn of the decade. And when you look at the fact that they lost Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton is literally breaking down year by year as a player. And then you look at the pieces that they still have managed to keep a hold of from previous years, Brooke Lopez, right, Bobby Portis, what have you. And you sit back and you say, okay, next year could be a year where they really reinsert themselves back into that legitimate contender conversation. Because what's happened last year is that the Celtics had so much goddamn firepower that the Bucks ended up becoming an afterthought even early on in the year because of how good Philly was at the start of the year with Joel Embiid. So the Bucks had become an afterthought at that moment. They had become a second afterthought because of the success of Philly, and Philly just got Paul George. So I'm under the assumption that everybody on this team, from top to bottom, is going to look at next season as we got to reassert ourselves here. Giannis is going to have to reassert himself. I mean, shit. You got Kevin Garnett saying he was the sixth best player in the Eastern Conference or something like that, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, so I think that this is a year for the Bucks where they're like, we got to really show everybody what we really got over here. Hopefully, we get to see more Dame and Giannis pick and roll action. Hopefully, that's a big focal point of the offense because really, when you look at them last year, the offense wasn't even an issue. They were just the 19th ranked defense. That was it. So
I'm gonna tell the truth, man. I'm gonna tell the truth. I want to see more Dame and Giannis pick and roll action, but a lot of that is because if their deal is going to work, it has to be that. Your best action cannot be Dame, Brook Lopez combinations. Giannis has to improve as a screener. A big part of why they traded for Dame is their two-man action that they want to run. They have to be better at that. And Dame said on the podcast he was starting to figure those things out with Giannis towards the end of the regular season. Having a full training camp to prepare and respond for that could lead to a very good year for the Bucks.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah,
but we have to see. I think, shoot, I look at the rest of the team, like they got Taurean Prince. I completely forgot about that. The fact that they still got Bobby Portis. How long has Bobby been there for now? I gotta look at that. Pat Connaughton's still on the roster. Shit. They didn't have Bobby for he's going into his fifth year here. So I mean, you look at that and you say, are they really sticking around their core, right? And we thought that big three was originally, like I said, Giannis, Drew, and Middleton. But the fact that the Bucks looked at Drew and they were like, yeah, it's not going to work. Like I said, when the moment that they made the trade, I was like, in terms of offensive production, they have to grow with Damian Lillard. It makes sense, right? But with Drew Holiday, what you're giving up is a big chunk of that identity defensively. And then they went and got Pat Bev last year at the deadline gifted, and I thought that was going to at least cover up, bandage up a little bit of that wound. And now he's playing overseas, so it's like who's going to step up and take that next leap? I hope Doc Rivers get more out of Taurean Prince than Darvin Ham was able to, even though Darvin Ham gave this nigga the greenest of lights for some reason. But whatever. outside of that, it's really up to the consistency of Dame and Giannis at the end of the day. Because I think Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, their roles are going to still be the same, but they're only going to keep getting older. So the production from what they can provide, Brook Lopez being a solid 3-point shooter this late in his career is great. Bobby Portis also being a not too shabby 3-point option, especially when he's hot. You can really open up a lot of different avenues for this offense, I think, if Doc Rivers coaches these motherfuckers the right way.
Yeah, that's the fact. We got to see if Doc Rivers can really rise up to that level. I think this is a better year to evaluate him, but got to see it.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next team or?
Yeah, my bad. I had to step away. We had kids' food that got here. So next team, Cleveland Cavaliers. 48-34 last season. Made no major changes to their roster for real. Isaac Okoro still is a restricted free agent by that team. They do have a new coach in Kenny Atkinson. How you guys feeling about the Cleveland Cavaliers?
This is like you said, man. They didn't make any big acquisitions. If anything, they doubled down on their core, and it made us all as fans realize that they're really locked in on this core, which is fine. I have no issue with that. But I've said it before. For this team to really kind of get over that hump, and because I look at this Cavs team and I think to myself, this is a conference finals, like the run that the Hawks had in 2021 to the conference finals. That's the potential I see with this Cavs lineup, spearheaded by Donovan Mitchell, of course, in the postseason. But the only way that can really be able to happen is if Darius Garland's able to hold up his end of the bargain as that second option or a consistent second option. That's all that this team is really missing. They have the pieces where they have a solid front court. The questions for them for them on the perimeter lied around Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. But to Donovan Mitchell's credit, the first year that he got traded there, you could see that he was taking a big effort to emphasize how much he was willing to play defense, or at least be motivated to move his goddamn feet. Outside of that, though, it's like when you look at everything else that they have left, are we expecting a big progression boost from like Max Strus? Karis LeVert's been solid. Ty Jerome was nice in Golden State. But outside of everyone else, Amani Bates is over there. Like outside of everybody else, it's like, is this 4 enough to get you that conference finals Cinderella run? It could be if everything goes right, but for some reason with the Cavs so far, that hasn't been the case. So we'll see.
Gifted.
Oh man, I've been waiting about this team because I think they're probably the hardest team to rank in the Eastern Conference, right?
Really? Okay.
Evan Mobley's development has to be this year. I feel like this has to be the year where he pops. We saw Cade, even last year, he took a step. Scotty Barnes took a big leap. Evan Mobley's in that class of guys where it's like, hey, like we know how good you are defensively. You were in the runner up to be DPOY, sure, but what can that realize itself to? Can the Cavs as a defense still sustain their productivity without Jared Allen on the floor, right? How does the front court mix go? Darius Garland, are you going to have a bounce back great year? Because I don't think he was very good last year. He went through a big injury, and they said for the entire year, that's why he looked how he looked. But I saw Donovan Mitchell playing a much better point guard role than Garland did.
Yeah.
New coach. I like Kenny Atkinson. I think he really maximizes his younger players better. But I think this Cavs team is kind of on a timeline, right? Like they got to figure these things out. And I think this year they're right in that mix of we could peak out as a top 3 team in the East in a regular season. That's possible. Or some of these other younger teams that have more of a clear-cut direction might be better than us. This is a prove a year for the Cavs, I feel like.
And to that point about the younger teams, like the Magic, for example, a series in which I thought would be over with in no less than 5 that went to 7. You look at the Magic and what they were
7 games. They could have lost. They could have lost that series.
Right. And you look at what the Magic brought to the table in the offseason. Their biggest fish that they found was KCP to add to that perimeter defense and add to that 3-point level scoring from that team. So you look at all the other teams that you thought might have been below you, because to get this point, like, I don't even think that the Cavs really looked at when they first acquired Donovan Mitchell, the fact that their championship window, they probably thought it was a lot more open than it is right now. They probably weren't banking on the fact that Porzingis and Drew Holiday would end up in Boston or Paul George would end up in Philadelphia. But it seems to me like as the years are going on, the Eastern Conference is starting to really take that weaker conference label like personal. And now you're seeing teams just get better by the summer. And what you did as an organization was say, okay, yeah, they got KCP. Yeah, they got Paul George, right? Yeah, they re-signed all their fucking role players, the Boston Celtics did. But what we going to do? Lock down Donovan Mitchell. Cut all that Knicks talk out, right? Lock down Evan Mobley. We believe in him. We believe in him and Jared Allen in the paint, and we believe in the dynamic duo, quote unquote, of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. To Gifted's point, if he was hurt, cool. Justifiable excuse. I feel you. But also to Gifted's point, big fact, that Donovan Mitchell took on the point guard responsibility and flourished in the way that he did, unexpectedly, probably for some, it's wild. When you look at all the other teams and what they've been able to pull together, it's like you could easily be one of those teams that gets left in the dust from last season.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I think when you look at this team, like they do have the potential to be a really damn good team and a deep team. And that's why the Cleveland Cavaliers double down on the roster. I think also on top of wanting to maintain some flexibility, if they do want to move on for some of these guys, now you have them locked into contracts, you can get a little bit more back. But the Cavs are a team that could either excel this NBA season and a team that could be one of the ones to watch out for, or I could see this just completely just blowing up in the sense that it just doesn't work and some other teams pass them up and they don't have a bad season, but they don't really accomplish much of anything either. I could see it going either way for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, all right, let's move on to the next team, the Indiana Pacers. How you guys feeling about the Pacers? No real changes to the roster, much like the Cavs. They pretty much kept that roster basically the same as it was last season. Now, they had a lot of injuries last season after making a trade. They had injuries there, so they did make that trade for Pascal Siakam. Of course, Ben Mathurin didn't really get to play much with Pascal, so maybe a full season of having both those guys under the same. Tyrese Halliburton as well was hurt towards the end of that season. So there's a lot to look out for. Maybe they can improve without them needing to make a lot of changes, but the Pacers are a team that was a really, really good offense, but a god terrible defense. They gave up like 123 points per game last
year. Yeah. This team ranked 24th in defensive rating last year, and that doesn't even tell you the full story, especially when you look at the eye test of watching those games, boy. I tell you, I said it before, shout out Big Ox, love you, brother, but they were literally the kings of the Eastern Conference. Got like amazing offensive production as a whole. No defense to match. And the fact that I looked at this team, especially when they easily, like some of the games that they lost, probably 2 to 3 that they lost in the postseason entirely, they should have won if they had some sort of like experience in the situation or level-headedness or something. But they really had boneheaded plays down the stretch of a couple of those games, especially the earlier games in that Boston series where they legitimately could have at least stole 1 or 2, and then also in that Knicks series. But you look at that and you say, okay, if they're going to run it back next year, are they going to take those same, losses and learn from them and try to apply them in a different situation? Who knows? But them doubling down and saying, all right, we cool with Tyrese and Pascal and fucking Miles Turner and Andrew Nembhard. I get that. That's fine. They got some cold guys over there. Wait a second. I thought that said James Wiseman. I was about to say shit. It said James Johnson. Never mind. Never mind. I thought it. Wait. It did say it. They got James Wiseman. Bro, what? Look at their 2025 roster. James Wiseman is on this roster. Right?
Yeah, they do have James Wiseman.
Hey, look.
I forgot. Yeah, because he had to choose teams. I forgot. That's why he's not on the Pistons anymore. Yeah, yes, they did just get him. That's true.
They cooked. No progression.
I'm not gonna say all that.
Nothing. They ain't got nothing. They got James Wiseman. That's what they got over there. No, I'm kidding. But I think that the offense is going to be pretty much the same. I don't see that that level of Tyrese Halliburton pretty much leading the charge of that offense entirely. I don't see that like drastically changing next year. But like I said, Gifted Hayes, like when I look at the other teams that did make moves to improve what already was not that bad, Orlando in my head, I think to myself, are those acquisitions that they made going to change them drastically, especially in certain fields? Because when you look at the Magic, for example, that was a defense that was pretty consistent all year long, especially throughout the regular season. But then when you look at the Pacers, it's like they had a consistent offense, but that defense was ass all year. It was a telling like sign. By the time we got to the postseason, when they started losing games, it wasn't a shocker when you look at the fact that, yeah, they could put a lot of points on the board, but they can give up just as much if depending on, how a run, because basketball is a game of runs. So can they keep up in that area? No. And for me, I look at them and I say top 5 seed for sure. But if they could end up battling out in and out of the play-in consistently, depending on how the Magic look, depending on how the Cavs look. Right, because at least the Cavs got some defense over there. They got some inconsistencies within their dynamic duo, but they have defense as well as a solid enough offense. Maybe not the same level as the Pacers, but we'll see. We'll see how sustainable that is.
I'm
I don't
excited
know.
for Benedict Mathurin though.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Ben Mathurin is a dog. I love Ben Mathurin and the effort that he gives. He has things that he needs to prove on. Hopefully he can have a fully healthy season. But this team, I mean, of course, they're hoping that maybe with a fully healthy roster for the full season, they can make some strides defensively. But Tyrese Halliburton, especially, he has to be better defensively. And if he's not,
he does. You can't have a situation like that. Because I mean, they already ripping Halliburton apart for that, right? Like they've been doing that all season. Yes, he's a phenomenal passer. Yes, he can shoot, but bro's a cone. And if you got teams out there that once come postseason time, they start keying in on those cones, it becomes a problem. The Celtics did the same shit to Luka. Luka was playing good enough defense, battling through a knee injury throughout the entire postseason. But once it came time for the finals, they was putting him in every isolation situation that they could. Now, Halliburton, if you're thinking about making a deep postseason run, the same exact thing would apply. Now, what are they really banking on to help? Let me ask you a question. Who on that roster are you banking on to at least somewhat have some like progression enough to help them in that on the defensive side to help them in that manner? Who would it be? Really?
Physicals wise, you would have to look at the potential of whatever Mathurin could be. I think Neesmith is a given. I think Miles Turner getting back to how he was a couple of years ago is there. But honestly, like I really think they just have to figure it out overall. I think their offense can actually get better too, which is kind of wild to say, but like bro, Nembhard could have a breakout year next year.
Yeah,
that's like a consistent guy.
Yeah,
they do have that luxury of like. Okay, we do. Yeah, we got Hallie. Yeah, we got Miles. Yeah, we got Pascal. But the real ones know about Andrew Nembhard. The real ones know about the potential of Benedict Mathurin. You know what I'm saying? Like they have some breakout potential over there for sure.
And don't forget Aaron Naismith as well. Like he has potential as well. So only 24 years old. He still has a lot maybe that he can uncover in this game as well, especially now with having a full season with Pascal Siakam and the gravity that Pascal is going to have there offensively. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's time. Let's get into the shit. The Chicago Bulls.
Let's get
By the way, shout out to Hayes because we just had a conversation on the pod about his team. I can't wait until we get to posting that. I'm excited, man. Let's go Chicago. We here, man. We in the building. Detroit not too far away, man. What's up with you, Hayes? You lead this segment.
So the Chicago Bulls last departures: Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond. I also throw in Javonte Green there as well. The key additions: Josh Giddey, Montes Bucilis, Jalen Smith. They've added to that Chris Duarte as well. They got in that DeMar DeRozan trade. This is a team that finally decided that they needed to go younger. This is a team that's record has gotten worse each of the last 3 seasons, despite them having veterans on the roster. And so they decided to go younger. to change their timeline. They bring in Josh Giddey, a player that, is coming off a disappointing end to his season and career with the OKC Thunder, but he's been a player that has been in the top 10 of triple doubles every year of his NBA career, only 21 years old. You add Modest Busilis, who's a guy that was projected to go in the top 5 of that draft. They get him at number 11. Luckily, he falls there. But this is still a team that is still projected to be very, very bad defensively. They have probably going to play with a quicker pace. They were 28th in pace last year. With Josh Giddey's ability to actually make, get rebounds, and lead that fast break, maybe that improves for the Chicago Bulls. But this is a team that even me, as a Chicago Bulls fan, I still look at and say, I don't know what this team is going to be. There have been people that projected this team to win 30 games, or as low as 28, is upwards of 40. And so there's this thought process that maybe this Bulls team, the young players hit a stride because they're going to be relied on. That safety net in DeMar DeRozan has been taken away from this team. They're still coached by Billy Donovan. They still are going to suck defensively. They still don't have any spacing really offensively when you look at it. There's a lot of doubts around this team. How you guys feeling about the Chicago Bulls?
Hey, man. Bulls going bull, man. I'm here for it. I like that DeMar is traded from the perspective that you got something. Although I'm not going to lie, they butchered that deal. I think the Bulls are one of the questionable teams in the league. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I like that they're saying, let's just see what sticks. This is very much a season where they're trying to figure out their core and see what sticks. Hopefully the progression from Ayo DeSumo can continue to be good, because I think he's a very good player that could be a core player on this team, or a trade asset to get you a lot of value back, right? Josh Giddey, what he will officially look like with the ball in his hands fully, can be a good thing for Chicago if he's able to really maximize it. Again, if you guys watched the tail end of the season, when he had the ball in his hands more for Oklahoma City, he was putting up triple doubles and looked like a very viable player. Overseas play, he looked very good there too. So in an environment where he has the ball more, that'll be great. Kobe White, this is the ultimate diamond tester season. Are you real or are you fake? You had a big year last year, a big year, but now teams are going to be expecting you to be great. Can you still be great, right? There's a lot of things we got to see. Also, Zach LaVine. Imagine being him for an entire offseason where teams just don't want you. They say you're washed, you're cooked, you can't be a good overall player. He's going to be looking to have a super big revenge season as well. And then if the Bulls can ride that success and trade him, that could maybe shake up the NBA, right? So I think there's a lot of interesting things to talk about when it comes down to this Bulls team. I'm excited. Also, Lonzo Ball Island, we here. Big 15, big, strong 15 connective passer minutes, man. We here.
Get off that island.
Talk to me.
I'm on the island, man.
Hey,
I still wait to keep.
I said this over on Gifted Show. I'm gonna say it here again. Lonzo Ball is literally the Walking Dead. He has dead men's cartilage and meniscus in his knee. Like literally, you have a dead man's cartilage and you have their meniscus in your knee, and from a dead person. They took it out of a cadaver and put it in your knee.
What did I say back to you? What did I say back to you in the pod, Hayes?
What did you say?
If he gonna put a dead man shit in his shit, he locked in, ready to go. You trying to hoop if you go that far. That's fact.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Gifted said something before I get to the Bulls. Gifted said something about a comeback season. I just saw a quote from Christian Wood, and he said, "I'm back, y'all, and I'm coming back next season with a vengeance."
Was he ever here?
Don't do that.
Christian Wood.
Christian Wood.
I mean, for like the Detroit Rockets first half, sure.
For the Detroit Rockets, for the Dallas Mavericks, bro was getting played out. Was literally getting played off the floor. Nigga, Bronny took it. But anyway,
crazy.
Let's move forward. The Chicago Bulls. So for me, Hayes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm with Gifted on the Lonzo Ball train. Like I'm here for this. Let me tell you something. My favorite player all time is Derek Martell Rose. So how many years do y'all think I've had of being like, oh shit, he's back, and holding out hope and what? Look, I'd have been here, done that a billion damn times, multiple seasons.
Why do it again, ZZ? Why would you want to do it again?
You want to know why? Because I am a sucker for an underdog story. I am. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I've always been like that. When it comes to a player like Lonzo Ball specifically, being that I used to not even like the motherfucker when he was first coming into the league, only because of the perception that brought on to him by his own father. But then after seeing him after a couple of years slowly adapt his game, work on his shot, work on his defense, work on his playmaking, and literally just become a better, blossom into a great point guard, then I was like, okay, now I'm a Lonzo Ball fan. And then he gets hurt. Same shit with Zion Williamson. But at the same time, there is I have a little bit more I'm a little bit more hesitant. Like it's like on a tight leash. I'm like, okay, I can only do this for a little bit because of the Derrick Rose years. With Lonzo, I have no reason. He may have a dead man's cart, whatever. He might have a dead man's knee, leg, whatever. Like if it said, bro is trying to get back on the court, I cannot do anything but sit back and wait and anticipate to see Lonzo Ball make a pass and then get subbed out the game. I don't care if it's for 7 minutes. I don't care. I don't care. The fact that Chicago Bulls are in a situation where when Lonzo Ball left the team, they were in contention. And now he comes back and he don't even recognize half the damn players on the damn team. They all younger than him at this point. And it's wild. I think that they're going in a direction that's younger. So the expectation for the Bulls isn't there. I like the fact that they're in a situation now where the casual NBA fan can look at the Bulls and be like, they're not really serious. They had DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Zoe, and Big Vucci. And they said, okay, let's try this out. And what happened with that? Big Vucci not being able to move his big puppies and was getting eaten alive on the glass half the damn time. But at the same time, love Big Vooch. Maybe that's just not a role for him. And that's why, they're making the moves that they're making. I'm also interested to see what the hell happens with Zach LaVine. Because let's be honest, Hayes, you as the Bulls fan here, the Zach LaVine experiment is at the very tail end. What more is there besides paying this nigga out the ass? But what more is there for this team? It's nothing but a distraction at this point. Like, I don't know where they're going, but it's a distraction. They still got to get rid of that. So they're in a situation where, them getting Josh Giddey is cool. I think I hope that he thrives in this situation. I like Mataz. I do. I can't say it's Buzelis. That's his last name, right? Buzelis. I fuck with him. I was watching the Summer League. I fuck with him. Io, still rock with him. Chris Dort. I used to call him Chris Dort. But I remember when he was in Indiana making noise, and everybody was like, "Oh shit!" Like I remember not Indiana. Indiana. When he was making noise over there, everybody was like, "Oh shit!" Then he ended up getting traded to Sacramento, and he kind of fizzled out more and more. I don't know what he's going to bring to the team, but there isn't any expectation. So I feel like there's room for a lot of people on this roster to have solid years, solid production. The Bulls can end up in a situation where they end up just trading people off one by one. That's the bubble that they're in, where it's like you don't really need to pay too much attention to them, but you need to pay attention to the direction that they're going in to figure out really what they're trying to do here. Look, because let me ask you, Hayes, how many of y'all's picks do y'all own for the next 5 years?
We own all but one. We own all our picks but one.
So obviously y'all can be in a situation where you can look at the next 5 years and who's coming into the next few drafts and say, okay, we can really position ourselves to figure out how this rebuild is going to go. And if it's rebuilding towards drafting like that one main star or whatever. So we'll see.
We shall see. This is going to be an interesting season for the Chicago Bulls. It is what it is. We'll see what it comes of. I am excited about the Kobe White. Like, can he do it again? Can he even extend maybe his game further than that? Now you're coming into the season with understanding that you're going to be a big part of the offense. Like he grew into that last year, especially after Zach went down. He hit a wall after that injury last season. So how does he come back? He's been putting in work a lot this offseason. There are reason to be excited about this team, especially if you're a Bulls fan or just enjoy kind of watching young players figure it out. But we'll see where the Bulls end up sitting at the end of the season. But last team in this division before we get up out of it is the Detroit Pistons. Now they added Ron Holland, Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tobias Harris being on the same team is wild. And Paul Reed, Monty Williams is out. JB Bickerstaff is in. That's weird because like Tobias Harris is the Tobias Harris of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s, and Tim Hardaway Jr. is it's crazy. The fact that they're both on the same team, I pray for the chucking. There's going to be a lot of chucking being done. They can't play any minutes together. But I see Gifted already stressed over there. Gifted, how you feeling about the Detroit Pistons, brother?
I'm about to show y'all something, man. Hang on. Hang on. I want y'all to look close to my camera, bro. This is no bullshit. Hang on. Let me scroll. Oh, it's mirrored. You're not gonna be able to see it.
I'm too old. I can't read that shit.
Yeah. So basically, this is a Detroit staffer calling me. Said, "Hey, Gifted, we noticed you went to a couple games last year. Can we lock you in to get some more games? They want me to go to the stadium tomorrow to choose which games I want to get as a part of a package because no one's buying tickets."
Yeah.
It's depressing in Detroit. And I'm not going to lie to you. A part of why it's depressing is the wings. Like, imagine having a sponsorship with Chick-fil-A. No, sorry. Wingstop. Just one win. You get free wings. They didn't get them shits till January.
That's crazy.
Like it like home wins because they lost 27 games straight or whatever it was. So it literally took them until January to actually start getting free wings. This is tough. I like Cade.
Damn.
I think he's a flawed player. There's a lot of things he has to do to improve, but he's a very good player. And he's once again on a roster with limited spacing, dumbass decision makers. And it's just, bro, Tobias Harris, and come on, how can you have both? They got both, Hayes. You know, I think so poorly of Tobias Harris. His off-ball defense is atrocious. Terrible. Then they got the guy who Klay Thompson is replacing. It's just, it's so wicked, man. Tim Hardaway Jr. trying to make a name for him. Like, I can see this shit getting nasty as hell. I'm going to be watching the games, though. But, man.
We had a few of them, too.
I'm not excited, man. I'm not excited.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it
there, though.
I'm going to keep it a buck with you, Hayes, and Gifted, and Chat. I don't give a shit about the Pistons. Like, I'm being so honest. I don't give a shit about Detroit.
Nobody does. If you just listen to what they had to call Gifted and try to sell him on packages to get him to get the fact that they even say, "Hey, Gifted, we noticed you were at games," just said that they were just looking around like, "Hey, that's Gifted. Let's go ahead and reach."
That's crazy. Oh my God. But nah, look, I'm gonna be real. The reason that I don't give a shit about the Pistons is because I don't care about, I look at the Pistons at the Pistons this year. I look at them the same way I used to look at the Bobcats and the same way I used to look at the Hornets when Kemba Walker was there. Yes, they have a guy that is wasting away individual great years for a terrible bottom-feeding organization run by idiots. In Charlotte's case, a ball-headed gambling six-time champion. And so you sit there and you wonder why certain decisions are made, even when you do take a peek at what they're doing over there. And so when I look at Detroit, I'm like, Detroit has become a situation where they're like a wasteland team. If you're playing bad and you need a chance to reinvigorate or revitalize your career, rather, somehow, some way, you end up in Detroit. James Wiseman, prime example. Bro was getting sent to the G League and back to Golden State. Still couldn't get it right. Had Draymond Green not put his hands on him, still couldn't get it right. End up in Detroit, right? This is a guy that was drafted number 2 overall, I think, or number 1. Was he number 1 or number 2? Top two pick in the draft. Drafted over LaMelo Ball. Could not get it right in Detroit. You look at a guy like Cade, and you see all of the positives in his game, but he can't reap the benefits of that, and neither can the fans off of a Wingstop sponsorship because niggas couldn't get shit right. They bring Monty Williams over there after he got fired and pretty much scapegoated for Phoenix's losses, and then and they pay him all that damn money, and it's for nothing. They got Tobias Harris, who was the highest paid Philadelphia 76er for consistent years, over a guy that was in MVP conversations for their team. Their best defender and best player and offensive player in Joel Embiid was getting paid less than Tobias Harris. Tim Hardaway Jr. was given multiple opportunities to be what he's supposed to be, which is a catch-and-shoot player. And he couldn't even do that. He got run in the finals. And the one time that he went off was when they was up 40. So
he broke a finals record because of that weak ass shit. That's so nasty that his name is going to be forever etched in history.
Forever etched in history with the likes of Ray Allen and Steph Curry. But for what? for what really? What's the context behind that? That's what I'm always saying. If my son dare come up to me and say, did you watch Tim Hardaway Jr. in the finals when he did shut up? Don't ever mention him in the same breath as the niggas. Ever. I don't want to hear none of that. But now they got Tim Hardaway Jr. over there. So the only thing that I do give a shit about in Detroit is Cade Cunningham, probably Jalen Durant, and maybe a Sore. Maybe. Isaiah Stewart, I was rocking with him a little bit after he almost killed LeBron. But after that, I was like, nah, like there's nothing. His game don't even excite me either. Like, that's it. I'm only looking at the individual players over there, not the team as a whole, because there isn't a direction for the team as a whole. There isn't. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what they've been trying to do since the Andre Drummond and Brandon Knight days and Reggie Jackson days. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't. And I am not about to kill myself to watch Detroit Piston games. I'm not about to. I would rather watch paint dry. I'm gonna watch a Cade Cunningham highlight to the day I die. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna watch a Cade Cunningham highlight. I'll watch a few Asor clips from him playing good defense or what have you. But ain't nobody checking in when they got Tobias and Tim Hardaway on the same team for the same reason. They're your veterans. What guidance is that? What guidance?
Don't be like us.
I think they'll have some good off the court stuff they can impart, but in terms of on court fit, I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's iffy for an iffy organization.
You had to go to a coach 3 times and then turn around and make him one of the highest paid coaches in the league to turn around and fire him a year into that contract.
They said, you want the job? No. Okay. You want the job? No. Okay. Do you still not want the job? We'll up your pay. Fine, nigga. Damn, give me the shit. And then they fire you for you not even wanting this. Like I said, you didn't want this. You knew what it was when you signed up for it. The only reason that you took it was because of that money, which is totally understandable and justifiable, especially considering the way that things went in Phoenix. But still, like, don't nobody want to be a part of that shit. Who is their coach now? I don't even know who their coach is now. It's what's his name?
JB Bickerstaff.
Yeah, JB Bickerstaff. Okay, cool. How long that shit gonna last? What's the duration of time?
Well, considering they're gonna have to pay, they're gonna be still paying Monty Williams for another 3 years. They better hold on to him unless they want to be paying 2 coaches.
That shit is so insane. Hey,
it's such a wild prediction.
One season cooked, yeah.
1 season, bro, and he basically that got to be one of the greatest finesses of all time. You take a job,
the greatest plays, yeah.
You take a job that you don't want. They have to pay you ridiculous amount of money for you to get it. And then they fire you. You didn't want to be there anyway. And then by the rule of the NBA, they still got to pay you to the end of your contract unless you sign and become a head coach of another NBA team. The greatest finesse. One of the greatest finesses.
All you got to do is just sit at the crib, be your lazy boy and chill. That's it. They call your phone. I'm on do not disturb. I'm getting paid. Fuck that shit. I ain't stressing over no players. I ain't stressing over no franchise players. I ain't stressing over no Pistons.
I don't have to coach Tobias Harris and fucking Tim Hardaway Jr. on the same team. Like, you just say, like, yeah, fire me. Absolutely fire me. You were going to give me Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. Fire me, please. Don't even worry about it.
Fire me and lose my number.
Yeah, like, don't worry about it. I'll send somebody to pick up my check. Don't even worry about it. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Is that the last team?
That's it. We're
all
done.
Right, hey, PCL playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. All 3 of your boys was in that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, I ain't gonna say too much on it, man.
No, I'll say it because y'all are so damn stupid. Like the way that this seating worked out, like y'all just some trolls. Like, I'm just gonna be 100% honest, and I don't care. I hope this doesn't ruin my relationship with PC because it's not them. It's y'all idiots that voted. Y'all so busy voting for stupidness that you sit there and this seating is cooked. It's cooked. What?
Are we going to the judges now or no?
I hope so. I hope so.
Because the fact that, I'm sorry, and this isn't to shit on anybody, but the fact that Dion from Ohio is ranked second, where you have people like bro, second. He's the second seed. Like that, the people that vote for Gifted from Ohio. I mean, not Gifted. Oh, my bad. Dion from Ohio. that vote for Dion from Ohio literally are young basketball fans that don't know shit about the actual NBA, because the fact that this man reads essays, he don't even debate. He writes everything down and read it. There's nothing in it. It's silly, man.
I was like, I was at number 13, and I literally said in the chat, I was like, so let me get this straight. You could say that I lost my first debate, but I know I at least got around. So that was 2-1. Then I won the live chats of the next 2 debates I was in, all of them, by healthy margins, except 1 against Pirate, 2 against Pirate. But I still won the overall debate in the live chat and in the chats following. And I am 13? Is that supposed to be lucky number 13, or y'all trying to piss me off? Whichever way, I guess we're gonna see how that works. But I was like, this is not right. This is not right. You mean to tell me in this entire PCL, Mars at number 1? Cool. That was actually
that makes sense.
Yeah. Then number 2 is Dion from Ohio. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, shit. Do I need to go rewatch that? Or all right, okay, PCL. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm 14. Right. I couldn't listen. I couldn't do much but laugh because, and again, I'm gonna make a point of this too. I'm gonna do a stream on my channel where I just react to all my debates, and we go round for round, being objective about the shit. Because the first one, I faced Swiper. If people think he won 2-1, that's cool. He did not, but fine. The biggest slap in the face I got was people saying John D beat me. When in one of his rounds, he admitted he literally admitted to the chat he thought he had the other player in the debate. He read up notes for that other player. So he was so unprepared or so not locked in with Ron that he messed up that round. And the chat is saying, you know what, John D got hold, I'm gonna vote John D. Then in the very next round, it's about Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robertson. Smoked him on that one. Then I had a bullshit topic where I had to argue Zion was a better, Zion was a bigger disappointment to basketball than Ben Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So regardless, I'm gonna lose that one, fine. But the fact that I lost the other 2 where he admitted defeat in one of them and I cleared him with basketball in the second one is crazy. But fine, I'm 14, cool. I'm not going to say much.
To your point, Gifted, like, I remember you saying that I wish they had done the judging like they did for Deck the Halls. Deck the Halls was great because you had the live chat as a factor, but then you had 3 judges as well to decide that point. So if that was the case for yours with John D, it would have been no question. You're seeing.
I would have watched him. It wouldn't have been no.
And I was sitting there in the chat. I was reading the chat. I was like, come on. Like, y'all are saying that John D won because he didn't get because his question or his answer that he had to choose or debate for was worse given the context of the question. So who won the debate? Like, it's not y'all are voting off of emotions and not off of what you just watched. That's the crazy part. It's like,
and then you got the Penn debate, which was just so funny to me because I cooked him on the first round.
You got Penn first.
I got Penn. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
The thing is that people don't understand you're voting for the debate. You're not voting for it. It's honestly stupid, bro. Like it's just stupid.
Like, bro, it's not about the players, it's about the debate. Yeah,
exactly. If we do this next year, one of the suggestions is that they got to do the voting differently. Like, I get it that you want the fan interaction and that, like, do a weighted thing. Have a judge committee and then have the fan vote be like 40% weighted, but have the judge committee weighted a little bit higher.
I never lost a debate in Deck the Halls because people had to look at what I was saying. And in this, it's not because, again, I beat Penn in the public chat, but to me, it was a lot of overcompensation, right? Because in the second round, people didn't understand the words I was saying. Penn played on that to make it look like I didn't understand what Vort meant. So a lot of people felt like, oh, wow, he has to win this round. He got hold. So because of that, he's 2-1. No. The first was Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. No one was saying hardcore Penn, I made better points. Then the last round was Hakeem versus Jokic. I dominated him. And yet y'all saying 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Yeah, And I think either they need to change that system or they need to be able to identify like if a vote is based off of them saying I got this person 2-1 because they got hoed. That's not a vote. That's
a lot of people said that
not a vote.
in multiple bro, it's crazy. It's truly crazy.
But I don't give a fuck. I gotta go up against Swiper, so it is what it is. But I was just like, okay, the season don't mean shit to me. It's, at this point, it's just about the preparation and me just be going. Because for some reason, based off of the Mars one and then MTEL and then Pirate, every comment that I would see or every comment I would see on each debate would be, "Oh damn, Zeezy really like that. It was easy." I'm like, okay, great. So for some reason, y'all niggas hate Swiper, so that would make me automatically be able to win the emotional debate, right? Who knows?
Listen,
who knows?
Listen, I can't say that because people told me that I lost to Swiper. They gave me I outright dominated him in the 2011 versus 95, which by the way is a very hard debate, right? Because obviously 2011 is more interesting. I somehow won that round, but I lose the Karl Malone versus Barkley round.
How the fuck? Okay. That's crazy.
It's not consistent. It ain't.
That's crazy.
But hey, we're gonna see y'all though, man. We in the playoffs. I really have to check around to see how the judging is for this next upcoming round because these are the playoffs. So shit should matter way more than the regular season at the very least.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right, man. We out of here. We'll see y'all again next Tuesday. Y'all make sure y'all stay in tune with us, man. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of From the Logo. For Gifted and ZZ, I'm Hayes. We out here. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Peace out, people. Have a good one, man. That debate.